Hey fans and subscribers, this is your host Joe from the Gaming for Insight channel with another video for Speedcast. And our topic with Gamers Generation and Hands Turn joining me is the ROG Ally 2. We have a video cards article that released as of May 7th, which is today. And we have what looks like two versions. I feel like this is the Lenovo Legion Go S all over again with what we thought was the black and the white. It was Nebula and white, but this time it's black and white. But each of these variants has two different SoCs. We have, or APUs here, because we're dealing with AMD processors. We have the white version with the AMD Aerith Plus, and we also have the black version with the supported, very exciting Ryzen Z2 Extreme, because we are speculating that it's going to be equivalent to the AMD HX 370. And we have the black variant supporting 32 gigabyte of LPDDR5X with a speed of 8533 megahertz. And the white version is going to support 16 gigabyte with the same speed. And different TDPs are also supported with this. But what's really surprising, and let's just jump right into this, is the shape, the actual form factor. Hands Turn, Gamers Generation, your thoughts. Was this what you were expecting? And do you think it's the final look for this thing?
This thing's got some junk in the trunk. I don't know what to say. It's one of those things where I guess it's like one of those pendulum things. You know, people complained a lot about the original or the OG Ally, the kind of like slim profile and the ergonomics being really bad. And then someone at ASUS was like, "Oh yeah, you got a problem with that? Fine, let me give you these." And then they stuck these on the back of it, and it was like big sausage hot dogs. I'll not say anything else, but before YouTube takes this video down. But I don't know. I imagine ergonomics should be good. This is all I can really say. It looks ugly also, but yeah, I don't know. Hands Turn, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's definitely something. I think it's an overcorrection for sure from the OG Ally, the Ally X, which I'm going to go on record. No problems. I've had zero complaints the entire time I have had my OG. But it almost looks like they were trying to copy the Portal a little bit. And it just seems like it looks weirder because the speaker grills are still there. Instead of it just kind of looking like, you know, a tablet or say like a phone with like a telescoping controller on it, it has all this extra, at least like the speaker grills, I think is what's kind of making it look weird, but it could be some of the extra buttons and stuff too. It just looks less like that kind of form factor and more just some weird kind of Frankenstein monster of these couple of things.
No, that's interesting. I think you're right about that.
Interesting point about the Frankenstein monster, because when we last were talking about the Ally 2, we were talking about the commercial that we saw teasing it, and we saw the machine with the cute little critter jumping in, and it was the Ally and the Xbox controller that was thrown into that. So we were thinking an infusion with Xbox for a handheld, but I think what happened was we should have taken it quite literally, because we have a welded controller to the Xbox. And I wasn't thinking that, but I rewatched the commercial today and I went, I get it. We should have been expecting this, but it's not confirmed that this is the final version that has been leaked, but it could be. That's my understanding.
I think that's a fair statement. I forgot where the video card source stated that the leak had come from. If it came from Windows Central, you know, their track record is pretty good. I would say that's pretty good. But that said, there was another thought after Hands Turn was mentioning about the speaker grills. I think I just put my finger on it. You know what it is? That kind of overhang, kind of like that section that kind of juts out to where you kind of hold it. Other than the Portal, it looks kind of reminiscent of the GameCube controller. If you think about it, you know, like that bottom section part. And, you know, you know, I'm going to say it, as goofy as the GameCube controller looks, it's comfortable and it's very functional, and people love that controller. Yeah, and I think that, you know, maybe they were going for some kind of angle with that. you know.
No pun intended, right?
Yeah, no pun intended. So like it's weird is what I'll say, but at the same time, I'm sure that if this turns out not to be the final version, I also would not be surprised, because if you guys recall, what was it, last year or something like that, ASUS had this presentation where they were showing they had like 5 years of iterations of like their Ally or whatever. You know what I mean? So unlike some of the other handhelds we have had out there where like it only seems to be one shell that's floating around or something like that, I would say I'm not going to be too mad if this is the final design. But yeah, I mean, it's don't judge it by its looks, I guess.
That's really interesting what you said, because I remember an image of seeing, I think they worked on the Ally design form factor for 10 years. I'll have to confirm that. But they went through multiple shells is the point I'm trying to reach. So I wonder if they just said, we got a spare shell around, let's just throw that on it.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, that's my thoughts. The other thing about the shell too is like the one photo there of the Ally kind of face planted there is that it looks a lot thicker than the original Ally 2. And I am thinking like, a lot of people, they'll say like the Legion Go is a thick boy, especially if you're trying to use it like as a tablet. But one thought I had was, if it's thicker like this, it would allow for it to have, better cooling and of course a larger battery. Right. So if it is like that and it's got dimensions kind of closer to the Ally X, that would make more sense as to why they, would go with a larger chassis and allow for larger, Twinkie handles.
Yeah, I was seeing it was either Fox or ETA Prime talking about the battery on the black version, the one with the Z2 Extreme, with a 90 or 99 watt hour battery. I'm trying to find the spec for that, but larger than the 80 watt hour battery that we have on the ROG Ally X. If I can find that spec, but
yeah, that's a big deal. I would say if it's 99 watt hour, that's just large enough that you can put it on a plane. Although honestly, that is kind of risking things, because all it takes is one angry TSA agent to say, "Hey, let me see that." All right. Well, and and you don't get it.
And it's interesting that it supports up to 36 watts for TDP. We usually see within console software up to 30. So we might be seeing with software support up to 36. My ANEO 2S can go up to either 33 or 35 as well, but not 36. So that was just seeing that number. That was interesting to me. Thoughts on the operating system? What are we going to see? Now, the speculation is Windows 11 for each of these, and then there's possibly the theory that we're going to be having some sort of Xbox hybrid Steam OS overlay that supports both, and you can access directly your Xbox games and your Steam games. Thoughts on that?
What do you think, Hanser?
I think we're likely going to see Windows 11 on this. I feel like if there was any other operating system, we probably would have heard about it by now. I mean, we can all hope and wish that we could get, say, like basically an Xbox, UI or whatever kind of locked down on this device, which would make obviously dev kits and things like that easier, and basically be kind of like a more powerful Switch where when you buy the game, it's like it's just going to work. We're not going to have to sit here and faff about with it or whatever. But I think we're still a ways off. I know there's rumors about in-house Xbox handheld coming in, I think 27 maybe. So maybe by then that's when we'll see it. But for now, we're pretty much just stuck with Windows for the time being, unless you want to do it yourself.
The thought I had was whether we can understand, which I don't think we can, but can we understand if we're going to be able to get a dedicated Xbox handheld where we can actually download through maybe this overlay our actual, it works differently from the PC Game Pass experience, and it's actually being able to literally continue. You play the Xbox game version on the Xbox console, and then you download something like the Series S version onto the handheld to play, because Fox and other content creators were talking about a dedicated handheld where it has the Xbox Series S technology or Xbox S technology, and it's an Xbox on the go. Is that what this is? Or to your point, Hans Turn, is that later? And then we're just seeing something now that supports PC Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with Answer, and I think that this is probably going to come with some kind of custom variant of Windows 11. I mean, if Microsoft is smart, emphasis on the smart part, they would probably ship this with the Windows 11 like LTSC, long-term service chain like variant that is like, you know, very low footprint, so it doesn't have all these stupid, you know, background services. You must install Norton, you must install McAfee, like pre-bloat software on there. If they're smart about it, that's what they would do in there, especially on the lower variant, on the Aerith Plus, right? Because the thing about the Aerith Plus is it's essentially the Steam Deck APU. And one thing I was wondering, which people were thinking as well, is, you know, the Aerith APU that's in a Steam Deck is completely custom, as in there's no other chip that out there that's like it other than this one. And my guess is that's because the time period of which that Valve had an agreement with AMD has expired or lapsed, being that it's probably coming up on what, 3 years now, right? Probably 4 years since that agreement. So they're thinking, oh, we still have the silicon. The silicon is fairly cheap now to produce. They can sell these to Asus and Xbox at like wholesale for cheap. And these are essentially like overclocked Steam Deck chips. That said, you know, we already know the Steam Deck on Windows is not that performant compared to even like a Z1 Extreme. So the thing is that this, I think for the lower spec variant, we are looking at just like an Xbox streaming handheld. That would be my best guess. So that's why it needs like a kind of lighter weight Windows. But for the Z2 Extreme one, I do think that, to your point, what you're saying, Joe, is probably going to be something a bit more hybrid, a bit more allowing for you to go and download that version locally. So they're probably going to upsell it and say, hey, you don't have to play everything on Xbox Game Pass if you don't want to. You could just, buy it off there and then just download it on and play it locally. And I don't know, I feel like they probably have a commercial of someone playing this on a plane or something like that, because you can't really do that well if you don't if you're not like using a streaming device or something, right?
Yeah, I'm really interested in how, and I agree with your point that the AMD Aerith Plus White variant, that would be opportune as a Xbox streaming handheld, similar to what we've experienced with the Logitech G Cloud. The concept being applied to that with that lighter APU option, but doing something to where we can take a game that is different from what we would download from PC Game Pass through the Microsoft Store and have it modified, maybe say through a patch, and this is Fox's idea, through a patch, have it applied as an Xbox Series S or Xbox S version, download it. I don't know how that is going to work when you have Windows being the bare metal for that, and if there's going to be a software layer to help with the translation, whether it be through a modified form of emulation. That's really going to be interesting if they advertise these as Windows 11 gaming handhelds, but it is an Xbox console at the same time, an Xbox handheld for continuing your Xbox game progress at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think that that's actually not that hard. I mean, it could just download with a custom configuration, like a custom.ini file, which essentially, just tweaks the settings a little bit. Think of it like downloading Cyberpunk on your Steam Deck. And when you load it up, it automatically has you set to Steam Deck, the Steam Deck graphics setting. And the Steam Deck graphics setting is somewhere in between like a medium and high, but it's got like certain things turned down, like it has ray tracing off because the chip there that's in there is not as performant with ray tracing. So I don't actually think that it would be that hard to do a similar thing if it's just it's a download from the cloud, and then again, like I said, it's a custom config file. The problem is that it's completely reliant on them having like good settings for the custom config or the custom .ini files, right? And in a way, it's not that different from like Steam Deck Verified, which in principle and on paper works pretty well. But once publishers start updating and pushing out new drivers, new versions and things like that, it just becomes like a huge cluster.
Well, we have some exciting information. We're looking forward to learning more about the ROG Ally 2 at Computex from May 20th to 23rd, from what I understand. So we should be hopefully seeing more of an announcement for this device. Well, we're going to wrap it up here for our Speedcast. Let us know in the comments what you are most excited about or not excited about with the ROG Ally 2, and if you're excited for more information, hopefully later this May. Hands turn, Gamers Generation. Any final words here? They're speechless. They just can't wait.
Yeah, I'm not editing that out, by the way.
It feels like a very wait and see thing. Hope, but probably temper expectations on this kind of combined device between Asus and Microsoft, and it's probably not going to be as simple as they want to make it out to be.
Let's see what that dedicated Xbox button can do.
Don't take a huge sip of whatever you like to drink when you see the Z2 Extreme price.